Discover a tabletop role-playing game that's easy to GM and play. Roll dice on the path to adventure. Tell stories using a library of artwork and music. And fight foes on interactive battle maps to make epic memories with your friends. Fablecraft.
Guys, welcome to Level 1 Gaming. And this is a special sector of Level 1 Gaming. This is the folks who love the idea of throwing dice, the idea of creating stories and generating special circumstances that can only exist in the theater of the mind, or at least we thought. I'm Baron J67.
My name is Cameron, Cam the Dad for short. I am a dungeon master, I guess you can call it, in training. I've written a couple of stories. I've DM'd a couple of games with Baron, so it was really fun there. But yeah, I'm just excited for what we have to talk about today. I'm sure everybody else will, once you learn more about it, will be just as excited as we are. But yeah, let's get into it.
So basically, I was just surfing the internet as I always do, scrolling through, looking for the next topic to talk about, looking for the next thing to catch my attention, and magically I come across Fablecraft, and immediately I was like, "This is the future. This is everything." This is everything, because as great as tabletop RPGs are, the barrier to entry is often kind of high, and then you feel like unless you've been doing it, there's no way to do it. And that's such a weird concept, but for those out there who've always been curious about it, you understand what I'm talking about. And that's where I was until I started running with Cameron, and it definitely created a dope experience. But to get to that point, I had to pick up player manuals. I had to go and buy my dice. I had to make sure I had my spell cards. I had to make sure there's steps, and it's funny because in all situations these things are not absolutely necessary, but they definitely make for a more streamlined experience. And whether that they cost extra, whether there's just so many extra steps to this, and this is from somebody who is still a rookie and a noob in tabletop RPGs. So to come across Fablecraft and see an all-in-one hub that allows you to experience the everything that's great about tabletop RPGs in a mobile and on-the-go format, everything from the lore, everything from the environments, everything including the dice, and then being it just, I immediately took it and sent it to Cam. Immediately. I grabbed it, I was like, oh, boop, sent it to Cam. And what were some immediate things that grabbed your attention about Fablecraft?
It was the simplicity of it. And when you talk about tabletop RPGs, everybody immediately goes D&D, but there's all the, Pathfinder, and there's Magic the Gathering and all those things. But D&D is like the most well-known. And to see Fablecraft and what they're trying to do, it's essentially taking the complexities of D&D and making it in its simplest form. Because with D&D, there's the dice rolls, there's the character sheets, and that was what was daunting for me beginning, was the character sheet. I couldn't figure out what, inspiration meant, what all these, constitution and all of those meant. So to have that essentially prescribed for me, essentially, it made it so much easier to break into something like that, where I'm not, reading 15 to 20 pages about one character that I may or may not want to play as, instead of it being a short, hey, you're going to be character A. Character A has ability 1 and ability 2, and the dice rolling, that was a whole nother aspect, because as a DM, you're doing, 1, a lot of math, 2, there's 8 different dice that you're choosing from, and everybody's like, well, what dice do I roll, and how many do I roll? This takes away from all of that, of me having to keep track of who's rolling what for when and how many adds to it and stuff like that, because you have simplistic, a D6, which is just the 6-sided regular dice that everybody throws, and then it does the calculations for you, and it tells you if you succeed or fail. So I'm not like, well, it's like a half success and a slight fail. So that was one thing that really sparked my interest and wanted to share this with anybody and everybody that had piqued their interest even slightly about wanting to join the space of D&D, was that it's so simple to do. I'm not requiring you to, write a book about your character. I don't need a backstory. I just need you to pick which one you want, and we can get started. And the stories are pre-written too. That was another aspect, because I, took on the daunting task as my first campaign to homebrew, which I would recommend to some people if they can do it, but for the most part, the pre-written story is always better just to start out. And to have a world that was already created with different locations that you could travel to, different characters that are already in the story, because NPCs, I can tell you, is one of the hardest things to create, because they have to have dimension to them. It can't just be like, they have to have autonomy essentially, and live outside of what the players are doing. So when you do interact with them, it's like, oh yeah, Bob's been working at the burger joint for the past 20 years, and like now he's a manager, now he has kids, like you see him grow. But to already have it in the game makes my job so much easier as a DM, and I loved it.
And the less technical aspect of why Fablecraft grabbed my attention and why it means so much is it takes the scary aspect out of jumping into something new and something this big. It lowers the price.
Oh, it does.
Dramatically, because just to get started, you got to have your dice.
That's easily from $10 to like $40 depending on the kind you want.
Yeah, and then don't start getting fancy.
Yeah.
And then you have to get your player manuals. You got to have
that's
access
$30.
Then everybody wants to throw spells, so now you got to make sure to have access to your actual spells. Your actual spell information. Now, yes, they do exist online, but sometimes that's not. But once again, these are all different tabs open. These are all different windows you need. Like if you wanted to play a typical story without having all the actual physical media to go along with it, you would have anywhere from 2 to 3 tabs open.
I would say more. I would say 5 to 6.
Yeah.
Depending on, because each book has certain spells that aren't in other books.
Yeah, and then don't have a character that wasn't in the OG draft.
Different races. So there's a lot.
There's a lot that goes into it. So to be able, and that stuff is scary. That's a scary entry level thing. And these are all entry level. And then just the amount of dice. What is it? I don't know the exact number, but I know
there's a D4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, and 100. And the 100 is the combination of like, they're 2 separate dice, but then they have a one massive 100-sided die that's like daunting that nobody ever uses.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, and all of these things at some point in time, especially depending on your type of character, are needed. Yeah. Like if you're a warrior wizard, you're going to need a lot of these dice.
A D4, you're always going to need all of them at any time, because one with attacks, you have D6, D8, D10, D12 usually are your main attack dice, and then like the buffs that people can give you is always going to be probably a D4, a D8, or a D10. The D20 is integral to the game of Dungeons and Dragons. You always need that.
Yeah.
And the D100 is for specifics, but even if you enter that realm, you're still like, "Ooh, that's a lot."
And the whole point of me bringing all of this up is all of this is streamlined in one place. And that was just the dice. We didn't even get into the spells. We didn't get into the story, the player manuals.
The background.
We didn't get into any of that. The list of languages, the list of abilities, we didn't get into any of that. I was just talking about the dice. And all of that is going to be included in Fablecraft. So now, and then just the ability to play with anybody just about anywhere.
And that's always the hardest part is it's like herding cats, they say. To get 6 people on the same schedule on one day at one time. Catching lightning in a bottle.
And then it's that all of these things I immediately noticed. Immediately noticed when I seen a short ad for Fablecraft. And that's what drew me into it. That's what made me share it to the folks who I play tabletop RPGs with. That is what opened my eyes that this is really the next step that's going to make this available to everyone.
Yes, definitely. And one thing too that really caught my eye as well was and this is no shot at Roll20 and what they do, because what they do is amazing. But in playing our campaign, one of my friends didn't have a readily available laptop, so he was using his iPad and his cell phone, and you don't get the full experience of Roll20 on your iPad and a cell phone. So to have everything, mobile friendly already, to where you're still getting the effects that happen when, you do an attack spell or you do a magic cast and you can see it on your screen is phenomenal. And to be able to have that like from jump, like that's almost unheard of, because they have to integrate it. There's a lot of coding on the back end that has to get done, but to just have it immediate and say, hey, jump on the call like on your cell phone, you don't even got to find a computer or anything like that, makes it is 100% better.
And that's what all of this is about. We're both parents, we both have busy lives, so being able to streamline something that we love and make it even more accessible and more open is always a plus. So much so that we actually reached out to the Fablecraft crew, and we found out so much information. We know that there's an upcoming Kickstarter that we're definitely going to be supporting.
Oh, of course.
And that is going to be starting May 9th. We'll make sure to add all the links below of every way we can go and support it, because Fablecraft, it's Fablecraft is needed.
Yes.
Fablecraft is needed. Any way that you can introduce this way of amazing storytelling and entertainment to more people, any way that I can get my kids to more easily get involved and grow into this, so it's not just me wanting to be into it, like I can introduce this to them and it not be so complicated, while still teaching all the same structure. It's all the same structures, but it just makes it to where it's easier to get into and more cost efficient. And
this is the gateway that we needed.
Yes.
To break into the more detailed of Dungeons and Dragons. You already understand the concept of like, okay, they have abilities, they have spells, they have, dice that need to get rolled, things of that nature. This takes all of that and essentially makes it 1 + 1 = 2.
Yes.
And then after that, you can break into more detailed, more structured, more technical, and enjoy, the whole entirety of Dungeons and Dragons. But you can still do that on Fablecraft. That doesn't stop you from even taking everything that you love about D&D and porting it to Fablecraft, because I don't know if we're going to talk about features yet, but I just wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
And you're able to take the story that they have, and if you want to expand upon it, write your own story and add to the world of Mythos. Or if you want to take it a completely different direction and create something completely unique that anybody can play on, you can add your maps, you can add your, you can use some of their artwork if you want to, you can use some of their animations for the combat sequences, and create a story that's completely your own, that you or anybody that you want to invite can actually enjoy. And
this is all within Fablecraft. All of this is within Fablecraft. And that's the beauty of it. It can be as expansive as you want it to be. It can be as simplistic as you want it to be. And it's going to be a free to play model.
That's the best part.
So not only does it make it easy for you financially to get involved and to jump into the world of tabletop RPGs, Fablecraft is making it simple. So you're making it low cost to no cost and simple. And I'm just excited because now I get to nerd out with other people, with more people. Yes. And I think this is going to be a revolutionary thing. I really do, because I immediately, I promise you, it was, I believe, like 40 something seconds. And I was like, oh, this is the real deal. This is it. This This is going to make it easier to play. And there's so many other features that we haven't even covered here today. But I just wanted to make sure that you all got to see what we saw. And then hopefully in the future, we'll be bringing more content. Maybe even when that time comes, you'll be seeing us run a couple stories here. And make sure to go check out Fablecraft. I will add all the links below. And you guys make sure to go engage with them on their Discord. Because from what I've been told.
Let me, can I have this?
Yes.
So their Discord, I will say, is one of the best things that I've ever joined in terms of just trying to understand more about Fablecraft. I've only been a part of that Discord for about a week, maybe a week and a half max. And it's not one of those Discords where, you know, you have the admins and they talk every once in a while and then they kind of leave and then you kind of just engage with everybody else. They are constantly welcoming everybody that's joining, interacting with a personal message to the new members. And all of the channels that they have, just to give you some examples, they obviously have the general chat where everybody talks about everything. They have the Ask the Devs in case you want to know about some more technical things. They have world building where you can recommend different types of worlds. They have a book of Mythos that goes over every location that they currently have in the game with a little backstory, a couple of characters that you can see, a little art design, and it really gives you a bird's eye view as well as a boots on the ground view of what you're going to be looking at when these stories do drop and you are able to actually play them. I myself have, you know, shared a couple of things in there and have, you know, top people in the company like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. I really enjoy, like, can you tell me more? So you're not just going to be, you know, one-to-one conversations with people that kind of don't have say in what's going on. I've already seen them talk about features that, you know, that they are talking about implementing based on conversations that they've had with people. And it's just like, this is a game by the community for the community. That's the best way I can say it. They take what we're saying and they're implementing it because they know that's what we want to see. And it's able to be worked into a system that makes sense. It's not technical. It's not too difficult. It's, hey, I think this would be a great idea. Is something we can do? Perfect. And even if it's not something you can do, that they can do, it could be a feature that you may be able to implement in your own personal game later on down the line. So there's the sky's the limit for Fablecraft. I'm here for it all.
And that's all I got to say about it. And we will definitely be coming to you guys with more updates. And I will make sure to add everything below. And you'll probably see it pop up across the screen, like riftweaver.com and all that other cool stuff. But yeah, seriously, guys, once again, the Kickstarter does go live May 9th. You guys can go actually to their Kickstarter link now and go and have it set to notify you when it launches. And keep an eye out if you're even a little bit curious, if you've ever wanted to roll dice in a magical world that you and your friends sat down and drummed up at all, like if that's
just a drop of curiosity,
just a little drop. Fablecraft looks as if it's going to be the place to deliver a simplistic, very low to no cost way of diving into these things and testing out and see if this is what you want to do. And once again, that's all I got to say. I am Baron J67.
And I'm Cameron, Cam the Dad, the DM.
And just once again, thank you to the folks over at Riftweaver. We are definitely, as you can tell, we're excited for Fablecraft.
Very excited.
Yeah, this is the real deal. But much love. Get all your news from lv1gaming.com. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. And I'll make sure to add all of Fablecraft's information below so you guys can go and check it out. Much love. Peace.
Peace.